balls and banter. Balls and banter. No excuses, just win, win, win with your balls and banter. We got balls, we got pucks, we got sticks, we got everything in between. We got balls and banter.
All right, folks, it's Tuesday. Welcome to the program. It's February already, which is crazy. Damn near Christmas. Speeding up on it.
Whoa. Slow down.
It's true. We're decorating next week. It's going to happen. It's going to be fantastic. Tom's going to be here in costume. How are you, Tom? What are you wearing today?
I'm doing well. I'm wearing a T-shirt and a blazer.
Very nice. With a little scarf action.
Ascot?
Yes.
An ascot. Yeah, that's what we're calling it. Reminder, folks, we've got no party affiliation. There's actually no episode this week, so sorry. But I'm going to keep telling you about it anyways. Tom, myself, Brandon, Chris, having some fun on that show. That comes out typically Wednesdays. You're going to have to wait till next Wednesday. But there's 2 great episodes that you can go check out now. And then also Tommy Boy is, maybe I'm jumping the shark here a little bit, but got a new podcast coming out, Accidental
Jumping the gun or
Education.
jumping the shark?
Whatever. Either way.
Jumping the gun.
Yeah,
that's the one you wanted.
Yeah. What comes out of my mouth doesn't matter. It's yes, jumping the gun. Accidental Education Reality Lab. Tell us about it, Tommy Boy.
Oh, accidental education reality lab is an extension of my Substack. My Substack is accidental education because I've lived my entire life of gaining more education through work and being exposed to top professionals just by relation of me, spending time with them, filming them for either different television shows or documentaries. And the reality lab is it's a bit more of a step beyond that, where I've taken some of these lessons that I've learned from reality television and have been able to implement them in different parts of my life. And the podcast is a little bit of that, but also it's more of a more look into my mind about how I perceive the world and the reasons why I perceive the world in the way that I do.
That's all you had to say. A look into my mind, Tom Cunningham's mind, which people have become all too familiar with, which is fantastic.
It was funny because I was thinking about, I've got the first podcast drops on Friday, so I'm looking forward to the next week. And I was talking with my wife about just things in general, and a cyclist took my attention, and I went on this 10-minute rant about cyclists and the fact of how they dress. And they tell you that they're a cyclist. They don't say that they're going for a bike ride. Same thing with people who say, oh, I'm going for a hike. People who say, I find that to be in California where everyone goes on a hike. They're like, oh, we're going on a hike. It's like, well, you're going on a hike after dinner? Normal people say that I'm going for a walk around the block just so I could, digest properly or whatever. But out on the West Coast and in different parts of the Midwest, they say I'm going on a hike, which a hike is nothing but walking in boots. So it's those are the thoughts that I express in that podcast.
Which brings up an interesting point. We're totally derailed. Haven't even gotten to the first story yet. The hike thing. So I watched the show Shrinking, which is funny on Apple. Harrison Ford's
great
awesome
show.
in it.
Yeah.
But you're talking about that. I think of that because like hiking in Virginia, West Virginia, if you dare, some of those places, different context, hiking in Colorado, the Rockies, whatever. But yeah, like they're like, we're going for a hike. And then they're off just power walking and like gossiping. Like I picture, what's his name? Jason Segel and his gay friend hiking as they're talking about other people. Very different definition of hiking.
You growing up in Minnesota, I know you were also here too, but what did people in the Midwest where you were around call going to the movies? What did they call it?
I think we just said going to the movies. I don't know.
Because growing up in Chicago, my family, they all said, oh, we're going to the show. That's what they would say.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, my family from Michigan. Oh, we're gonna go to the show.
It's like,
And
what
that's
show?
one step removed from saying, "Oh, we're going to the Bijou to the picture show."
Yeah, I don't-
Like we're going to the show, and it's like, what show are we going to? Oh, we're gonna go see, Die Hard. Great. Why don't you just say we're going to see like, why send the show?
Right.
It's the same thing when they would order, a drink. I'll have a pop.
That's like when, anyways,
They
we
weren't-
could go forever. That's like when Mike would say, where are we going? To the place. Like, that doesn't tell me anything.
Yeah.
So speaking of shows, there was a big show in the world of wrestling this weekend. We talked about it a little bit. We're not going to talk about it much right now, but the Royal Rumble, which is very fun for those who enjoy the world of wrestling and wrestling entertainment. In Saudi, no Riyadh is Jericho. That's basically all I'm here to tell you. Is if you were wondering if that was going to happen, because we talked about it the other day, it didn't happen. He didn't come back. Apparently, he and his band. I didn't know he was in a band, but he and his band are going to do a bunch of stuff in the UK throughout February. So anyone who's watching, probably no one in this audience, who's wondering if that's going to happen and when, it doesn't seem like it's going to be anytime soon.
Yeah, I got to ask you this question about the timing of the last show. I'm blanking on
Royal
it. Royal Rumble. Yeah. So I was initially really stoked that it was at 2:00 because I have to work at night, and it was like, oh, this is going to be great. There's no football going on, but there's a little college basketball happening. Gives you something to look forward to. But what I realized when it was over, it was like, oh man, I've got nothing else to look forward to now.
Yeah.
So do you think it's better to have an event like that in afternoon hours or in evening hours?
I tend to agree. Like, if we get to the point where everything's done in the afternoon, and then it's like I was gonna say that's a bad example. But even conference championship weekend, the second game's at 6. It's done earlier than the traditional games. It's like, well, what do we do now? You and your wife watch a show. You do whatever you do. But yeah, I think when we didn't watch it live. All these ones that are in Australia, Saudi, all these places that are far away. They're like, this is at 10 a.m. This one's at 1 p.m., 2 p.m. We watch it later because then we can do food and make it a big thing. You obviously can't because you're out producing reality television at night. But I like it better at night. All that to say.
Yeah, I think I do too.
The afternoons, just unless it's football. The afternoons, I'd much rather have night. So speaking of big events, also the Super Bowl coming up next weekend. I will, of course, be at a cheerleading competition because somebody has no freaking idea how to plan events.
A mom planned that.
Which is worse, a cheerleading competition on Super Bowl Sunday or a wedding during college and pros in October, November, December?
The latter.
Probably the wedding, yeah.
Yeah. No, because now I kind of understand how this would be miscalculated. Like that takes you just don't do it. Just don't do it, people. We talk about that all the time. But the Super Bowl is going to happen. Bad Bunny and Green Day potentially going to have a very politics heavy,
It's going to be a rally.
It's going to be interesting. Roger Goodell says it's not going to be, but that's happening. So then TPUSA has long said they're going to do a counter show, the All-American halftime show. They've now let us know who's going to be in that. You can see partially on the screen there. Maybe you can bump in to the full. But you've got Kid Rock. Kid Rock's going to do it. Brantley Gilbert, Lee Brice, Gabby Barrett. So you've got some decent talent. Those are all good artists. Kid Rock, obviously very friendly to TPUSA, to the Trump administration, folks like that. Brantley Gilbert's pretty outspoken. Lee Brice, great. Both of those two great in concert. Lee Brice has got some vocals. Dude's talented. But at the same time, I don't know how thrilled I am with the lineup. I think it's a great lineup. I would go to this show, but there's other folks that are kind of like, man, like you've got Al Dean who's outspoken. Like, you're not going to go Al Dean. He's probably busy.
Oh, it's probably, you got to think of the price that they are charging. What does Al Dean charge to do a show?
More than.
And are they selling tickets to this, or is this just come on and watch it?
This is
I
don't know. Actually, I don't know. Do you know that? Are they? Can you go and attend this anywhere? I know it's going to be on.
I'll check it out.
Daily Wire, all of that stuff. It's going to be on Rumble, X,
I
yada
think
yada.
that I mean, for a live musical act, you want to have an audience there. I think it would be kind of weird if you didn't have an audience there, because part of going live is performing in front of people, because there's a certain amount of energy that you get from a crowd that enhances a performance. So if there's just going to be, on a set somewhere, I don't think it'll have the effect that they're going for.
Right now, they're saying that the event is primarily accessed via streaming or broadcast with no specific in-person location for the general public that has been announced.
See,
so
that's a miss. That's a
See,
miss.
that's another miss.
Yeah.
Dude, miss me with TPUSA. Since the Charlie Kirk assassination, I have a lot of feelings about them that we don't have the time to express now. But to me, whatever they put their hands on right now is going to be a miss. They're misread the room.
Well, here's what I think is going to happen. I think that there's going to be some people who tune out, some people who don't tune in right at all to the game. I'm not in that camp. I would love to go against some of the woke policies and DEI nonsense in the NFL. I just like football too much, so I'm not going to do it. And in this case, this year, I'm not going to do anything because, again, I'll be at a cheer competition. Thank you, UCA, for your terrible planning and leadership. But I think that some people will tune into it and then come back. I think a lot of people are just going to go use it as a chance to like fill up their plates, get some more snacks, go to the bathroom, whatever, converse with people if you're having a party, and then go back. And then what's going to happen is you're going to have the folks on the far right who are going to be like, this was a resounding success. It had millions of viewers, most of which will be Rumble ones that don't count. Like, you're going to have all these things that prop it up as if it was something amazing. And at the end of the day, nothing's going to change. Some people will have watched Bad Bunny. Some people will have not. Some people will have watched this. Some people won't. And not a damn thing's going to change in the end, and we're just going to move on.
yeah, even on their website, it just says social media, Twitter, X, and Rumble, YouTube. You can watch it. There's no one location to go to this.
One thing musically that I want to say about Bad Bunny, he's a shit artist. I mean, he's just terrible. He's one of those that goes in and his voice and everything is manipulated. There isn't anything original about him. So in order for him to gain some sort of attention, he has to do this whole bisexual
wearing a
sort
dress
of thing, wearing dresses and so forth, and somehow sex and gender or in gender fluidity, that sort of thing. That's a shtick. The music labels have created this person just like the WWE creates wrestlers and characters for them. The whole Bad Bunny persona is contrived.
So you're saying it's just a gimmick?
Yeah, he's a gimmick. I would be very surprised that if he actually is bisexual, in this day and age, it's probably, with everyone being gay in the hip hop industry, I'm sure that there are a lot of people gay or, that will go that way to advance their career. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. We all know that Tupac was a total fraud. He's as gay as the day is long. If you look at the old videos of him when he was being interviewed, when he was at art school, looking to become an actor, nothing about him is thug life. And this whole perception that somebody like Bad Bunny is original, it's not. He's planted, just as Green Day. Green Day is not a punk band. They're a corporate punk band that was created to sell records and try and get a younger generation of people into punk rock. Because when punk rock started in '75, you had people like myself who were, Gen Xers, who, like the Ramones, the Sex Pistols, were all a lot older than we were. And so that's why Green Day was developed, to try and get people like us who are in, our late teens, early 20s onto the whole punk bandwagon. So you're talking about, at least with Green Day, they're quasi musicians, but they're not authentic. They were put in a position. They're like the first boy band that first punk rock boy band. They're contrived.
I can't. That's just not my genre of music. Take out the political statements that they make and some of the things that they say and do. I remember going back when they were big and all the bands like in their genre were big and people were like, this is the best music ever. And I just remember being like, I don't think we have the same definition of what good music is, which is that's fair. That's okay. Like, that's reality. But man, I just can't stand it. I definitely, I'll probably have my phone out watching when my daughter's not cheering, which is like literally 3 minutes. And then the rest of the time you're just standing around. So I'll probably have that out, but I won't watch the halftime show. We'll get all the interesting takes from everyone else afterwards. Okay, folks, quick break, and then we're going to get into some other NFL news. We're going to get into Puka putting himself out there, going after Sydney Sweeney. We'll talk about that, what I'm trying to get to. That's all coming up. Stick around.
We've all experienced low levels of electrolytes, whether from a late night of drinking, completing a half marathon, or maybe even just experiencing a bout of explosive diarrhea from a food truck. You know what it's like to need to replenish those also important minerals in your body. But why just settle for that when you can enjoy our new proprietary sports drink and Colon Sweet blend? Colon Sport. Colon Sport is the new frontier in electrolyte replacement and removal. With a quick surge of sugar and electrolyte replacement, you'll feel on top of the world. And then, like a brisk wind tickling your grandmother's chimes, you need to drop those minerals and a whole lot else. So stop drinking other successful mineral replacement drinks and jump on board the Colon Sport Express. We're not only sure you'll love the taste, but we promise you'll be coming back for more. Colon Sport only hydrates and replenishes electrolytes for a temporary period before blowing out your bowels and requiring most individuals to start the process over and over and over. Individual results may vary. Some individuals may experience significant weight loss.
All right, so everyone's always talking about.
Hey, it's nice to see an old sponsor coming back.
Yeah, right? Colon Sport back in action. It's not the last one you'll see today. So many fun ones to cycle through. So many confused people who are here for the first time, like, what the hell did I just step into? Just wait, it gets weirder. But lots of people talk about Sydney Sweeney again. We're going to keep this, as clean and appropriate as possible. Obviously, she's very successful. She's very hot and trendy right now. She's a gorgeous woman.
She just came out with her own lingerie line now.
Oh boy. Better than that's more, even though that's suspect, I think it's better than Gwyneth Paltrow's candle. Which,
the one that smells like her vagina?
Yeah. That's just weird. Just weird stuff going on out there. At any rate, she's popular. A lot of people who are single would be interested in being considered. Well, she put out something talking about. Look, let's read the bottom of this here first, and maybe zoom in a little, Disco, because I'm getting old and can't read this. But it says Sydney Sweeney opens up about what she looks for in a partner. Quote, athletic and outgoing and funny. I'm a sporty girl, so someone needs to be able to climb a mountain with me, go skydiving with me, and someone who loves their family. I love, she continues on there and continues. So, star receiver for the Rams, stud, Puka Nacua. He takes a shot. He responds to this and just simply says 2 words, love skydiving.
Good for him.
He's put his name in the hat.
Himself out there, yeah.
I mean, who knows? Maybe he gets a rose. Maybe he doesn't. We don't know. But he took a shot. He's trying. Good for Puka. He's a handsome. Is he Samoan? What is he?
Yeah, he's definitely Pacific Islander.
Yeah.
I don't know specifically if it's Tonga or Marshall Islands or Micronesia or whatever, but.
Well, it's like I was saying off camera. I mean, Travis Kelce took a shot in the dark on that podcast, on his podcast, saying like, "Oh yeah, I think it would be nice to go on a date with Taylor Swift, and they're getting married."
What Tom's gonna say to that?
Yeah, that's another contrived thing.
Yeah.
Look at Travis Kelce's dating past. But anyways, getting back to this one, I kind of feel like this is a little bit, at least for myself, and I think for you guys as well, a very unique dating circumstance here because, we're dealing with Sydney Sweeney, the queen of the Downs. And for every guy out there, we kind of feel like we're her older brother, and we have a certain amount of stock that we've put in her, and we kind of feel a little bit personal about who she's gonna date. So, I'm glad.
So you're being protective. So does Puka pass the test? Like, are you good with Puka?
Oh, I think so. I think he's going to go down. If his career keeps going the way it is, he's going to go down as one of the best wide receivers in history. The size of him, his hands, his speed. The guy is a freak. He is like to me, like the reincarnation of Michael Irvin. You know how Michael Irvin was just a freak when he got on the field?
Michael Irvin's a freak now. I've never seen someone go crazier than that dude. I mean, anyone who suggests that he's not on cocaine watching him on the sidelines of the Miami Hurricanes games, I'm not saying he actually is. I love that he loves his team. But it's like, can someone on his social team, all these guys have their entourages and like circles. Can someone tell him that's not a good look? Because I don't think it is. Like whipping out your belt and beating something in a hoodie and like throwing a temper tantrum on the ground. It's just I think it's a weird look. Not how I would do things.
Well, let's just go back to the comparison play-wise. Michael Irvin is one of the best wide receivers that I've ever got to see.
Oh, he was an animal. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the cocaine aside, that's a different story. Kind of like, in our upcoming story with Lawrence Taylor, the cocaine and sexual assaults are a little bit, and OJ with beheading his wife. There's, was OJ a great running back? Yes. I can't believe I'm defending OJ.
I mean, he still won the Heisman.
Yes, but when it comes to play on the football field, I think, it's undeniable how good he was. Just like Michael Irvin, it's undeniable to say how good he is. For me, my benchmark for receivers, like one of the greatest of all time, would have to be Michael Irvin, and I see Puka's career going in that general direction. So it's kind of a long way for me to get there.
Yeah,
about that point.
He's a stud. He's on a great trajectory. I would say if Matthew Stafford wasn't married, he is. We're not about breaking up marriages here. We're very pro-marriage, but I would say that's who Sydney should get. He's that handsome devil, and gosh, he's good. So good. But Puka. Good luck.
He was born in Las Vegas, raised in Provo, Utah. He's Samoan and German.
Now, that's an interesting mix. Yeah, lots of shouting. Like, when he gets in a fight, because you don't want to fight a Samoan.
Yeah, Polynesian, Samoan, and German. His mom is half Samoan and German. His dad is full-blown Polynesian.
You know who he kind of reminds me of? If picturing him, like, right now, and this might actually not be accurate, but in Ted Lasso, the one soccer player, is it Danny?
I don't remember.
He looks like Puka. Anyways, and Puka look like each other.
Yeah.
He's the one who's like super happy-go-lucky. He was in the one State Farm commercial.
Oh, the football is my life. Yeah.
I can't think of his name. Anyways, Puka way more successple in real life. The other guy, an actor. Yeah. But okay, so let's move on. You did reference Lawrence Taylor. This is an old story. But I didn't know about it. And you see things pop back into your feed, and it's like, okay, well, this is interesting. So I explore it, and it turns out it's true. So one of the best edge rushers ever in this game, one of the best defenders ever to play the game, played under Bill Parcells, played for the New York Giants during their historic seasons, and his name was Lawrence Taylor. Absolute stud. Well, it turns out Lawrence Taylor on draft day, biggest day of your life, right? At least to that stage, to that point, he does not remember draft day. You can ask him to this day. He does not remember what happened or what was going on because he drank 41 Coors Light beers that day. And I would suggest, knowing everything we know about LT since then, that it probably wasn't just Coors Light, but maybe it was. But that is like... That's look, it's Coors Light. Beer doesn't do as much. I'm not suggesting you should have 12 or 24 or anything like that. Certainly not 41. But 41 is pretty darn astonishing.
What did he weigh on draft day?
I don't. You've got the computer.
Yeah,
I mean, I have one too. But
wasn't it Wade Boggs that once drank 72 beers on a flight from Los Angeles or back to Boston? Do you remember hearing that story?
That's wild. 72. Yeah. How do you not get caught off? I was flying home from Iraq commercial with one of my buddies, and he got cut off on wine. We got to fly in the front of the bus. Thanks to you guys and your tax dollars. Thank you. And it was not even that much. And he got cut off after, I don't know, 5, 6, 7. So Wade Boggs doesn't get cut off. Is this because he's Wade Boggs, I guess?
Well, I think it was a team charter.
Oh, it was the team charter. Yeah.
Okay.
So the stewardesses on those just do whatever you say. Like
if there's even stewards, it could just be get up and go get your own drink and come back. There's probably a staff, but
when we would fly private overseas, we'd have our own stewardesses, and then sometimes they'd try and tell you the rules. It's like
I can't do that. Yeah,
that's
funny.
Adorable. Yeah, like it's the agency, baby.
By the way, he weighed. They're saying anywhere from 237 to 245 on the day he was drafted,
which would be tiny for a D end now.
Yeah,
right. But 41 beers for somebody who's that big and that athletic, that's like eating a Happy Meal.
Yeah, 6'3", 6'4".
Because you're just going to burn all those calories off. But that falls right in line with every interview that I've ever heard with Lawrence Taylor, or every story that I've heard that Phil Simms will talk about. The classic story is Bill Burr is on the pregame show with Phil Simms, and Bill's like, Phil, is it true that, Lawrence Taylor has no idea the names of the teams? And he's like, he didn't have a clue. He had no idea who was in our division. He had no idea which teams played where. And he was supposed to join us on set, and he did. And he comes walking in. Lawrence Taylor comes walking in, sits on set, and starts telling a story. He's like, yeah, we're down in New Orleans playing, Phil, what was it? What's the name of that team down in New Orleans? He's like, the Saints? He's like, yeah, the Saints.
That's amazing. And yet he's a freaking legend.
Here's the transcript from that interview. What do you remember from the day that you were drafted? I don't remember much. I had 41 Coors Lights, so I couldn't tell you. Did you have your family around you? I had my drinking buddies with me. That was his answer.
Okay. Which maybe is his family. We don't know.
Yeah, but he doesn't start. He just says, I had my drinking buddies with me.
Just crazy.
I don't know. I think back to when I was, 2021. And if I was on the verge of, getting a contract, back then for, up in the upper 100,000s or millions or whatever it was, because it's not like the contracts that are being thrown around now, but that's still a big chunk of money. I think I'd probably be, celebrating a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, we're not going to encourage you per legal. We don't have a legal team. But if we did, they would say don't encourage.
They'd be going.
Yeah, waving them off. What are you saying? Don't.
That's right. I forgot that Saul Goldstein isn't in the studio today, our legal counsel.
Yeah, no, he's not. No, it's a Jewish holiday. All lawyers are off today. The thing that's crazy about that era, though, of football and just sports in general, like when I think back to him, like you think of the stories of LT and like his personal life, his off the field life, and what was there. You had, Jim McMahon in Chicago, who was just crazy, like going at it with Tagliabue. You had, was it Tagliabue at the time? I think it was Tagliabue, right?
Yeah. It was Pete Rozelle.
Pete Rozelle. It was Rozelle. Then
Yeah.
It was Tagliabue. Sorry, he was going after Rozelle. Then you've got like Darryl Strawberry and Dwight Gooden on the Mets, like cocaine brothers. You've got freaking like Tommy Kramer would show up drunk to the Vikings games to play quarterback. Like it just was a different you had 80s rock bands, and then you had the dudes who played football on Sunday and may or may not have been under the influence. Like weird.
Yeah, that's back then. You sort of had a mirror in pop culture. You had sports mirroring like the music industry, which also sort of mirrored some of the actors that we had back then. Some of the actors back in the 80s who were at the top of their game were all men. A lot of them had like manly men, like your Sylvester Stallones and your Arnold Schwarzeneggers, who comes from the bodybuilding world. And you have these, really quintessential, masculine pursuits that people were doing. So when you have that much like masculinity and testosterone, of course, when you get them into an environment like that, they're going to kind of want to have fun, cut loose a little bit and bend the rules a little bit. Like you're talking about McMahon, when he was a rookie, came to training camp with a cooler of beer.
It is crazy. It's time, like, again, I'm not trying to endorse everything that everyone did back then, but times were just better and more simple. And America kind of still liked each other a little bit back then. So it was better. So I will always prefer all of those days. Now you bring up Michael Irvin. Michael Irvin doesn't have the career he does without all the resources around him. And that doesn't happen without the 88 Herschel Walker Vikings trade, which set them up for success and screwed us over. So
you're not butthurt about that still?
I never bring it up. I never talk about it. But at any rate, last story in the NFL. We talked the other day about Bill Belichick getting snubbed. It's absolute garbage. You can like the guy, not like the guy. You can like that he is dating an 18-year-old. She's not really 18, and I think maybe they're not now. There's some rumors. I don't know what's true. Don't care. It doesn't matter.
Because he didn't win the college football. That's why.
They had a terrible year.
Yeah.
Terrible year. But Bill Belichick snubbed he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer every day of the week, every year, every time it comes up. He's Bill Belichick. But he's not alone, because Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, also apparently is going to be snubbed and will not make it on his first go around. He was eligible and will not make it. Now, should owners be in the Hall of Fame? You could argue for that or against that, whatever. Different than a coach or a player, but they play their part.
Yeah.
But he didn't get enough votes, so he's not going. And bringing back up, someone made this great point. I'm stealing it from. I don't remember your name, or I'd give you credit. So I'm going to say it a couple times, and then it'll be mine. But Jerry Jones, who was in the class of 2017, active owner in the Hall of Fame, last made it to a Super Bowl in 1995. Kraft's teams have been 11 times since, going for his 7th title as the owner of the Patriots this Sunday against the Seahawks. And yet it's like, should we get him in? Like, does he pass the smell test, the eye test? No, we're going to make him wait. And I just think it's utter insanity. Again, there's rumors out there about Robert Kraft doing this, that, or the other. Maybe he's a great guy. Maybe he's not. That's not what you don't base the Hall of Fame on character. Hall of Fame is based on your performance. Character should matter. But I just think it's utter insanity that he's not being included first go around. If those guys are both up, those guys should both go through.
No, and one of the issues that I have with the whole Pro Football Hall of Fame criteria for getting in is it's not, were you the best? It became, and I don't know when this happened, but it became, could the NFL tell the story of the NFL without this person being in it? And that became the criteria. And then it turned into a cry fest of lobbying to get in. Like, you had Harry Carson wanting to get in. Harry was a great player. Was he an NFL guy? I don't think so. In this go around, Ken Anderson, he went to a Super Bowl. Great. Ken Anderson, he looked odd in that helmet, with that 2-bar mask, and it kind of was down a little bit, and his forehead sort of popped out of it with that big bushy mustache. Don't get me wrong, I like that look and everything, but is he a Hall of Fame guy? I don't think so. Is L.C. Greenwood a Hall of Fame guy? I know that he was part of, the Steel Curtain at Pittsburgh, but, would you put him in the same category as a Mean Joe Green, as a Jack Ham, as a Jack Lambert? I don't think so. I don't think that he's that caliber of a player to get in. In just the same way that, Mike Singletary, do I think he should be in? Of course, yes. I think he's one of the best from the Bears defense in their 85 run and had a career that reflected that. Do I think Steve McMichael is worthy of being in the Hall of Fame? No. He had a great career. He was, an integral part of, the Buddy Ryan defense in Chicago. But does he deserving of the Hall of Fame, or did he get in because I hate saying this, of ALS? It just it seems like more the Pro Football Hall of Fame seems more like an equity play and a feelings play of getting people in, other than based on merit.
Well, I think there's maybe an element to that. But then you also have the flip, and I'm glad he got in, Kraft and Belichick kind of seen as villains. So they don't necessarily fit some of that, even though they're so paramount and such a huge part of history, because for a while, no one could freaking beat those guys. There's a lot of you who, as we bring up the Patriots, you're angry. You're still angry because your team wasn't as good as them, and you didn't have Tom Brady at quarterback, so they kept winning and your team didn't. And you're just mad at the Patriots because you're not them. But you've also got folks I love Brett Favre. Brett Favre obviously had the penis text, or this, what do we call that? It was sexting, whatever. That scandal came out, and he kind of got some bad blood on his name for a while. He had no problem getting in. See, there's some people who get that kind of I don't know. Anyways, the bottom line is if we're gonna put owners in, which apparently we are because we do, then Robert Kraft should be in there. There's
right. And Deion Sanders a couple of years ago, actually, I thought brought up a pretty good point for Deion, is the fact that he said that maybe there should be a separate wing in the Hall of Fame for, and he was alluding to real Hall of Famers, not people who are getting in just as, a participation trophy, which I kind of agree with that. If you're going to induct everybody who pleads their case and, and gets a petition for people to sign to get them in, or has this huge upswell of reporters who vote on it trying to get them in, then maybe there should be another wing of people who actually are in the Hall of Fame based on merit, not based on, the story of the NFL can't really be told without them, so we got to kind of put them in.
Right. But that's never going to happen.
Right.
I mean, that's just because that's admitting what you're bringing up here. We got one more football coach we're going to talk about. Less positive news, some updates on Lou Holtz. We got a Florida woman story that's pretty epic. And then In and Out doing some things that I'll admit I didn't know they were doing. It's pretty awesome. We'll talk about it here coming up in a minute.
Are you sick of hearing how all the home security solution companies keep pushing their newfound tech, super easy installation, and superb customer service? We get it, and we get security. We also get that protecting your loved ones, your home, and prized possessions within it is super important. That's why we've taken a different approach to home security. Forget the high-speed tech that could get knocked out with a heavy storm or some obsolete system that relies on an old phone line in your house, and lean on something tried and true. Cougar Home Defense. You see, our approach is much different. Criminals most often strike out of convenience and are routinely scared away by bright lights, a loud dog, and of course, the most feared noise in the burglary community, the sound of a round being chambered in a shotgun. But why settle for the tried and true basics when you can take things to the next level? That's where we come in. When you call Cougar Home Defense, we'll connect you with one of our customer success associates who will get you scheduled for your big cat's delivery. And we're not talking about Garfield or some overweight house pet. No. We're talking a big-ass man-eater cat that's highly adaptive to multiple habitats. So say goodbye to criminals and say hello to peace of mind that only your new jungle cat can bring. Individual results may vary. Cougar Home Defense cannot guarantee the safety of your family or possessions. Cougar Home Defense sends your big-ass jungle cat with 24 hours worth of food. Owners are responsible for additional food and or accessories. In most cases, your cat will sustain himself without your assistance. You'll see what we mean.
So not great news for the college football world, really just for humanity, I would say. A legend who I will say, also I just said I will say multiple times, just go with me on it. I was not a huge fan of him growing up before I knew more about him, his character, kind of who he still is, to be clear. Because Lou Holtz was the head coach. He's coached a lot of places. He's coached at Arkansas. He's coached at Minnesota. But he was at Notre Dame, man. Like, Notre Dame went on this run. And it was like, son of a bitch, can you guys stop beating everybody and stop being in the title game every year? Like, I just want to change. We've since had lots of iterations of that. There's been Bama. There's been Georgia. There's been all these similar stories. But I kind of saw him as a villain back in the day. But he's a stud of a human being. He's now entered hospice care at his home in Florida following health challenges. So he's there. He's still there was reports yesterday over the weekend that he had passed away. As of we're live right now. As of this show, that's not true. As of going into this show, I should say, was not true. But certainly not great news once you get to that state in life. But here's a famous quote. You've probably heard him. We'll put it up. But he said this before: "Want to be happy for an hour, eat a steak." Amen to that, coach. Want to be happy for a day, play golf. Want to be happy for a week, go on a cruise. Want to be happy for a lifetime, put your faith in Jesus Christ. Lou Holtz, the great one, with that quote. Really, him, Dungy, some of these other guys have been such an inspiration to others. So terribly tragic that he's at that stage of life where things are going where they're going. But man, what an impact he made on the sport, and what an impact he's made on everyone else. And again, we're not saying it in the past tense yet, but certainly a hard fight for Coach with his family and himself there in hospice at his house.
Yeah, with Lou Holtz, kind of coming back to the Substack, the accidental education that I write, and also Reality Lab that's coming out. I worked in South Bend at WNDU, which is a local TV station there. It was the NBC affiliate, and I started there in 1992, and I wrapped up there in 1995. So I was there for the last part of Lou Holtz being the head coach at Notre Dame. And I had limited interactions with him, but every time that I was with him doing an interview with the sports reporter or the sports anchor, he was such a gracious, and I hate talking about it in the past tense, but in this case it works because it's my recollection of being around him. He was such a gracious man, and I really learned a lot from him and a lot of takeaways. When I first heard that he was entering into hospice, I was trying to put down on paper what that meant to me as, a 22-year-old who was just getting into a business. And I know that you'd put up that quote. It's one of my favorites. And there's one that I keep searching for and I can't seem to find it. And I know that he said it. That's the thing that's driving me crazy. And I once heard him say that he's talking about work. He said, do what you love what you do, and the money will always find you. And I've lived my entire life like that. So if he never said that, then my whole life is a lie. But I attribute that to him. And in the takeaway for me in a statement like that, he's 100% correct. No matter what I've done in my career, whatever path it has taken, I've always enjoyed what I've done and what I do. And I've enjoyed the people that I work with. And that is so rewarding in your life, because if you're happy with what you do, you're also happy at home, and you're happy around your kids, and you're able to mentor your kids and parent your kids. And he was just such a breath of fresh air when it came to keeping things positive. And also at that same time, the movie Rudy was being made, and I happened to do the behind the scenes of the making of Rudy. And there's one scene in there in the movie that I think about all the time because it reminds me of Lou Holtz a lot, is when Fortune is talking to Sean Astin, the Rudy character, and says, you're 5'0", you're 100 and hardly a speck of athletic capabilities. And that reminds me of Lou Holtz so much, because if there was ever a head football coach who didn't fit like this Bear Bryant archetype, it was Lou Holtz. But the amazing thing about him, he just had this uncanny way, with the diminutive stature that he had, of being a giant and being able to motivate people in such a way to get them a national championship, to have successful football seasons, to have successful careers once their football career was over with. And to me, that to me is sort of the glory days of college football, when you had coaches like that, knowing that a lot of your players weren't going to be in the NFL, but you had to figure out a way to inspire them not only to win on the field, but also to win in life later. Yeah,
no, very well said. Very well said. And if we only knew how good we had it back then with right. college football in that era, it was outstanding. And also, you're so right about, it's crazy to think about the giant that he is, and then you look at pictures of him. I was going back and looking at stuff as I saw this story develop and the sad news and everything that's going on around it. And he, like, you see him walking out of the tunnel, and you see a lot big. Granted, back then the shoulder pads were the size of a whole nother human on top of your shoulders, but like you have big jersey shoulder pads. But you see then there's this tiny old little man walking out in front of these big dudes. And it's like, wow, he just is a tiny, tiny little man who made a huge impact. Really cool.
I love the story about the 88 or 87 game against Miami at Notre Dame. And there was a scuffle before the game. So Lou gets him into the locker room, and he's like, I don't want to see you guys doing nothing, as far as getting into fights on the field and embarrassing Notre Dame. If they want to fight after the game, then we'll meet in the parking lot. But leave Jimmy Johnson's ass to me. And then the backstory behind that I thought was hilarious. Lou Holtz was like, I had more of my speech, but as soon as I said that line, everybody got up and ran out of the locker room, and I couldn't control anything.
That's awesome. I love it. Well,
So, Tom, I can't find the one you were saying, but the one that I found, it's similar. I think it's just the way that it's phrased. Lou Holtz was frequently emphasized stating, find something you like to do, find something you do well, find someone to pay you to do it. If you do, you have a career. If not, you have a hobby.
Yes.
Okay. I like it. Well, from Lou Holtz and being a fantastic human who's impacted hundreds, thousands of lives, probably more than that, to someone who maybe is hopefully impacting less, but it's still an interesting story. It's not Florida man, it's actually Florida woman, but let's get into it. So usually, like I said, it's Florida man. This time it's Florida woman, and it's not at Walmart or like a Circle K. It's at a Target, which is obviously like the step up from Walmart. Don't take offense to that. Some of you are like racking your shotguns right now. Easy, bro. I'm just saying, generally it's considered a little step up. Yeah. But put this picture up here. So cute woman too. Seems. This is in Orlando. Florida woman has been accused of driving a motorized shopping cart, which I always want to do too. I get the temptation. Yeah. Through a Target while drinking wine from the bottle and eating sushi and cinnamon rolls.
I wish I knew which Target that was at in Orlando, because I would call the people I know that work at them to see.
Well,
can we get the footage?
I would. I mean, just. What are you talking about? But that's first of all, this is a crazy story. This is definitely a Florida story. Like the stuff that only happens in our state is weird as it's the greatest state in terms of politics and freedoms, and there's great people here. But that's a weird combo. Like, I get when you're having wine and you're clearly inebriated at this point, driving a motorized cart reserved for Gertrude through the store, that you're then like, I'm going to eat, first of all, Target sushi.
Yeah.
Target sushi, not the highest grade of sushi. And then you're going to chase it with a cinnamon roll.
I didn't even know Target sold sushi.
I actually didn't either.
Yeah.
I didn't either. But that's a weird combo. Tom, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, sushi and cinnamon rolls just don't go together. I'm sorry, I just don't see that. I think that's more indicative of the problem that she has with alcohol than it is with actually drinking and shopping at the same time. There's certain grocery stores, Winn-Dixie being one of them, down by where you live, Drew. I know has a bar there. Yeah. It also has carts that have a drink holder. So
I'm glad you bring that up, because there's a store in our community here, which is basically an older retirement community. Great for families too. There's that too. But it's a grocery store, and they've put we have a new liquor store too, which is actually tied to a grocery store, and it has a bar at it. It's like, okay, tastings and stuff like that, maybe that makes more sense. But a Winn-Dixie that has a bar, like, I just don't understand who your clientele is. Like, things have gotten dark if you're driving a motorized, you've had a really bad day if you're driving a motorized cart, drinking wine out of the bottle, yelling at people and eating sushi and cinnamon rolls. I think they equally have gotten bad if you're like, where are you going, honey? I'm going to the bar. Which one? Winn-Dixie. Like, I'm going to saddle up at the end of the bar, excuse me. And unless the concept is the husband and wife are going, the husband doesn't want to shop, the wife takes too long doing it, or vice versa, it can go either way, and the other one's going to sit there. I think it's a really strange concept.
It is, but they also have bingo there on a designated night. I'm not sure.
You've been, haven't you? You've been.
I've never played.
Okay. So
they're definitely trying to get people into the store, and I can see what they're doing from a publicity perspective or actually a marketing perspective. You have a couple of drinks, and you might buy something a little extra that you wouldn't if you're not sort of, feeling a little bit better than you normally would.
Yeah, so but bamboozle people into a timeshare, not like a bag of rice. Like, can I get you some jasmine rice and some crackers?
Right. But you know what? This concept I could see, like, if you're, shopping with your wife and you just happen to get dragged along to go to like Joanne Fabrics or something. Now, if Joanne Fabrics had a bar, I think you would have a lot more men going there with their wives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There are places that absolutely need a bar. I also think that children's games and high school sports you should be allowed to have that.
See, there is a Publix by me now that has a bar with taps and everything.
Really?
Yeah. And it was first like the Greenwise Publix.
Oh, it's that one?
It's that one, yeah. And now they've changed it to a regular Publix, which it's literally you could throw a rock at the other Publix.
That's the weirdest
it's
thing.
so
It's like
dumb.
you walk out the front door
You're
and
like,
it's
wait,
that's a Publix.
didn't I just leave Publix? But this one's got a bar. And they kept the bar in it, and they have like Tap Tuesdays, and all the people show up and they drink. So according to the Orlando Police Department, 45-year-old woman, by the way, 45, rolled through the aisles like she owned the place, allegedly helping herself to food and alcohol as she has stunned shoppers watch the impromptu Target tasting menu. Police were called abruptly, ending the retail happy hour, and authorities remind shoppers that Target does not offer curbside cocktails and that wine and drive applies indoors too.
There you have it.
Well, I mean, she totally thinks that we've gotten to this point, and this woman's mentality seems like a mentality that's pervasive right now in society, where people go into a situation and they think they're at home. Obviously, this woman thought the Publix was a walk-in pantry for her.
Target, yeah.
So Target, I mean, and decided to treat it that way. Same way you see if you're at a hotel that serves breakfast and people are down there in their pajamas. It's like, what are you doing, dude? Seriously?
You've got a big problem with that.
I do. I have a huge problem with it. Night clothes should not make appearances in public. That's the bottom line. I thought that was part of the social contract that we all live by.
We don't have social contracts anymore.
Those went out the window.
No, yeah, and all of a sudden that just sort of evaporated into the ether. So I'm at the point now where if I'm staying at a hotel and I decide to have breakfast in their breakfast area, I'm almost to the point where I'm wearing a tuxedo down there just so I can shame everybody who's down there in their pajamas.
Love it.
I will say this. We stayed at a new place in Ann Arbor this year, which is where, we can't this year, I don't think, because I don't think we can go this year. That's a different sore topic. No, I don't like the buffets, except for there's one up in Amelia Island this is the most rock star breakfast buffet I've ever been to. You know which one I'm talking about. My brother's here. I'm pointing to him off screen. But I've been there a couple times. I've taken the kids, and they remember it like that was amazing. Like there's harpists. There's not really, but there's like, there's everything you could ever want. Like real honeycomb. Like it's which I don't even like honey, but it's like I'm glad it's here. Like it's exciting to me that it's here. But I don't like that. I like going to the hotels where it's like a nice this one I'm talking about in Ann Arbor, nice restaurant. Yes, it costs more than the free, flip your Belgian waffle and the, fake eggs and the metal thing. What is that metal thing called? Chafing
I don't
dish?
know, but the lid never stays open.
No.
You like lift it up, it'll like slowly go down. Yeah. Or slam backward. Yeah.
I would rather pay for something nicer and have it done right.
The best hotel spread I've seen was at the Rosen's hotels that are like in Orlando. Right by the convention center, there's one, and literally it's the biggest place you've ever seen, and it's just their breakfast side of it, and it's everything you can imagine under the sun. And there's omelet stations. Everything's cooked fresh right there. There's nothing sitting out. You're like, I want that. Like, okay. They whip up. It's incredible.
I do like going to buffets just to observe people. I don't really like to eat from the buffet because it kind of grosses me out a little bit. But I like everyone's preparation who's like standing in line and they're like, oh, yeah, I can't wait to strap on the old feed bag. Oh, this is going to be good. And then, good thing I wore sweatpants. Or they, undo the buckle on their pants. Just those little nuances I like to see in an environment like that.
Now, back to the Florida woman story. Do you think she's one that she goes to the store and she has a bag of chips in her cart and she's hungry, so she opens them and starts eating them? I'm going to buy them anyway and eats them. Do you think she's one of those because she clearly decided to open up the wine? Or do you think this was just a drunken mistake? And where do you guys...
This is a pattern of behavior on her part. This isn't the first time that she's done that. Absolutely. And I'll go even a step further. The relationship that she's in with her husband or her boyfriend, there's a lot of arguing going on. There's a lot of accusing over text messages. Who's this chick? Why is she calling you? Are you, there's a lot going
the
on
bank.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then this, the photo's deceptive because nowadays you can't really tell, what they look like, what women look like from the neck down. They might have a skinny face, but a fat body but I'm thinking that I just based on that picture, I'm thinking that, she has, a pretty slender figure, but has a lot of issues. And I think that the fights that she gets into with her husband are hellacious, almost to the point where 911's being called. But the only reason why he's staying in it is because, well, I think we all know.
The profile picture, there's piss and vinegar there.
Yeah.
Hard just judging from which hard to judge. But so that's where you shouldn't go. We got food and where you shouldn't go. We'll finish on this because I didn't know they did this. And I think it's really cool. And we don't really have them out here. They're like working their way further east by the month, by the year. But In-N-Out Burger and her, Lynsi Snyder, who's the current CEO, owner, whatever, has gotten some backlash because she's refusing to remove Bible verses on their packaging, specifically on their cups and some of the stuff at the bottom, like under the rim, which, again, I didn't know was the case. But I can tell you this. I would love some In-N-Out Burger right now.
It's on the bottom of their basket. You see their neck to the left of her in that photo. There's Proverbs, and then on the bottom of the cup is John 3:16.
Yeah, zoom in a little on that so they can see.
Yeah, Proverbs 24:18 and John 3:16 there on the bottom of the cup and on the bottom. And I've been there. I've seen it. Tom, you've probably seen it too, being out west and everything.
Yeah, Tom, you could go. You're out. You could go get some.
Yeah, you know what? One of my great disappointments in my career is when I worked on Undercover Boss, and we could never get Lynsi to be one of the bosses. And because there's been other restaurants that doing that show that we've done where after doing an episode of Johnny Rockets, the crew that worked on that one got a gold card where they got free Johnny Rockets for an entire year.
That's awesome.
So, free, just being around that environment and being able to eat In-N-Out every day like we did with Donato's Pizza would have been fantastic. But as far as the way that she runs her business, it's her business.
Right.
And she should run it however she wants. I am a huge fan of In-N-Out. I love their burgers. I think they're number one when it comes to fast food, and I define fast food by having a drive-through. I think Steak and Shake, Five Guys are on a different level because they don't have a drive-through. So I have sub-genres of hamburger categories. So
I agree with
100%.
I agree with that.
Anybody starts, chiming in the chat about, oh no, In-N-Out, Five Guys, I agree. The thing that the part of In-N-Out where I think they need to improve on is their French fry game. Their French fry game is substandard.
I was just going to say that. Like the first time I ever had it, I was so thrilled. Burger, everything was great. I just felt I was underwhelmed by the fries. Like take Five Guys fries and mash that with their burger. Beautiful. Take several people's fries. I just the way they do it, not my favorite. I would eat them if someone brought it to us right now. It would be 1, remarkable, 2, very cold because we don't have any here. But I would still eat it because I just would. But that's my one thing. But this kind of helps kind of get you over the hump, right? When you've got the spiritual element, hey, our values are simpatico, and I love that she's unwilling to back down because it is her business, and this is what matters to her. So that's what you build your business on. And if people have a problem with it, here's the good news, folks. You can go buy your hamburgers anywhere else you want. You don't have to shop there. Just like you don't like this show, change the channel. Like those are the decisions we get to make as adults.
Yeah, it's like Chick-fil-A. If you make fun of Chick-fil-A because they're closed on Sundays, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
There's plenty of options out there. Why should a business have to respond and tailor make their product and the way they do things based around people who don't share the same value system they do?
Yeah. Then I would say if you have a Shake Shack in your area, that's the way to go for your chicken sandwich. And if you don't have a Shake Shack in your area, it's a step down. It's a big step down. But I would go with Wendy's chicken sandwich. It's actually really surprising. Their spicy chicken sandwich,
it's delightful.
Band.
Yeah,
it's so good.
The spices on it are phenomenal, and they're bigger breasts too. They're big, like they're bigger than what you'd get at Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Now,
I just want to throw this out there real quick. It has to, since you brought up Wendy's, we always talk about, how good some of these restaurants' social media is. I came across Waffle House, and somebody had said this Waffle House was, substandard. The food was awful. Waffle House responded with a screenshot of the critique that this person came up with. It said something to the effect of, "Come to any participating Waffle House and say it to our face."
Yeah, we showed that on.
we showed it last Thursday.
On third, yeah. It's amazing. It's freaking. I love it. I love any of these restaurants who get into it. If you're a restaurant owner, hire a snarky, witty person and have them be in charge of your social, even if it's just like part of your social, just to put out things like this.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Please say it to our face. Any
location will do. Now, back on the In-N-Out fries. When you did the fries, were they just the plain, or did you get them animal style, or do you remember how they were?
I said the plain. I didn't like how thin they were.
And plus, they're thin. Plus, they have an inordinate amount of the nubbins.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first time I ever got it, I got them plain, and the second time I got them animal style with cheese. So then it's like you eat them with a fork because they're just sauce and onions all over it, and that was better than just having the plain fries.
Yeah, but you got to be judged on the plain.
I get it. No, I get it. Yeah.
The official judging criteria of French fries has to be the plain fry if they can stand on their own. Now, do you throw salt into that mix, or do they have to be unsalted?
No. You can salt, pepper them, whatever you do, but like however it comes, when you just say I want a basket or a order of fries, that's it. Not your, well, do you want our Cajun style, or do you want cheese and jalapenos and this, that, and there? Like, no, it's got to be.
How about this, Drew? An In-N-Out burger, double animal style, and for your fries, Cruiser's fries.
Hard to beat that.
Wow.
Hard to beat that. That's a local place that you guys don't know
If there
about.
was an In-N-Out next to Cruiser's, that would be happening here on the daily, probably. Yeah. Did you get it again? I got it again.
Yeah. That's the thing. And then once you start eating that crap, then you want more of it, and your body's like, I need it.
I can't get enough of Cruiser's Ranch.
Yeah, it's good.
Anytime I'm out, I'm driving by, I'm like, I'm stopping by. I'm getting that.
Yeah.
I don't care that it's $10.
You can buy it in a mason jar. Who cares? Yeah, it's worth it.
And Cruisers, if you would like us to continue to talk about you, feel free to drop by any French fries with a big vat of ranch dressing and be a sponsor of the show. It'd be so nice for us to have the Cruiser studio. Well, that kind of has a weird ring to it. It has a kind of a connotation.
Different connotation.
Cruising.
Yeah.
The booze
whatever. If they pay enough.
The Booze and Banter studio brought to you by Cruisers. How about that? Then that doesn't sound bad.
Balls and Banter.
Yeah, Booze and Banter was the old one. Yeah.
The old thing. Maybe we'll bring it back. We'll see. Okay, folks, this has been so fun hanging out with you on this Tuesday. For those of you who are new around here, we'd love to have you back. Please hit that subscribe button. If you've been around and you haven't done that, please hit that subscribe button too. Just everyone hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the share button, do all those things. We will look forward to being back here Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Whichever platform you're watching on, we'll be back there. Have yourself a great day. Be safe, be smart, be free.
We got balls and banter.